I think the public gets the issue of complexity in environmental issues much better than, if you like, we professionals. Because the public don't make these distinctions between biodiversity and climate change. You know, you could do graphs showing, you know, how they go to Google and they'll use one word or another because you have to use a word. But actually the public understands, I think, complexity much better. To some extent they're confused. I mean, you get people who say, well, I recycle my plastic bags and think that that somehow saves the ozone layer or something. I mean, they get very confused sometimes about exactly what issue is being addressed by something that they're doing. But actually within that, I think people understand very well that these are complex issues and that they do link up. They understand in a way that perhaps a scientist might think about how everything links up. So they understand perhaps that they may get confused about it, but they'll understand that there's a link between climate change in the ozone layer and climate change in biodiversity. And we've talked about, we've kind of counterposed climate change and biodiversity as somehow the public's got interested in one and uninterested in the other. But I mean, I think we've rather lost the point that biodiversity, in our discussion, that biodiversity is central to climate change because fully half of the carbon dioxide and the other greenhouse gases that we put into the atmosphere that cause climate change are actually immediately absorbed by nature. I mean, they're absorbed by the forests and they're absorbed by the oceans. So if we don't have a highly functioning biosphere, good biodiversity systems, then our climate change is going to happen much faster. And I think actually that the public understand that we compartmentalise. We divide it up into little areas of biodiversity and climate change and the ozone layer and the recycling and so on, you know, all those bits, and we're all sort of specialists in one area or another, or you know, have a brief for one area. I think the public at a certain level actually understands the complexity issue much better than we do. And therefore, the question how we communicate clear messages in a culture of complexity, well, I mean, I'm not quite sure how much of a priority that is. I mean, I just throw that into the, well, for discussion purposes, but that seems to me that at a certain level the public does understand it better than we do, because they get it at a certain level. Now, what we do about it, they then see politicians who try and compartmentalise and get very confused about it and take action on one thing and not another. But I don't know, I think they get it. But look, I mean, you know, let's stop there.